Have you noticed this pattern in your own life? The moment something gets hard, your health, your finances, your relationship, your confidence, you immediately go looking for an answer. You search online. You ask friends. You ask family. You ask a mentor. You collect advice the way people collect screenshots. Fast, automatic, and in huge piles. And then something strange happens. Someone gives you a simple, reasonable answer, and inside your head you respond before they even finish the sentence. Yeah, I know. Not out loud. Sometimes you say it politely. But mentally, the response is immediate, almost reflexive. I know that already. Tell me something new. Give me something more practical. Something that actually works for me. If you've ever done that, I want you to sit with this question for just a second. If you already know, why aren't you doing it? Because this is the quiet trap a lot of smart, capable people fall into. They don't lack knowledge. They're drowning in knowledge. They can explain the right answers. They can even teach other people. But when it comes to their own life, they still feel stuck, still feel behind, still feel like they're failing, despite having so much knowledge. Let me give you a simple example. You might say, I'm always tired, I have no energy, my body feels weak. And someone says, you should exercise. Before they even finish the word exercise, your brain is already doing it. I know. You know exercise helps. You know it improves mood. You know it strengthens your heart. You know it reduces stress. You know it's good. But knowing didn't move your body. So now the real question is not, what should I do? The real question is, why does knowledge stop at your head? Because if you don't understand that, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Learn something. Feel smart for a moment. Do nothing. Feel guilty. Look for a new answer. Repeat. And that cycle is exhausting. Here's what I'm going to do for you in this video. I'm going to separate two things that most people mix together. Knowing and understanding. Knowing means you can say the definition. You can repeat the advice. You can score 10 out of 10 on the test. Understanding means you can apply it, especially on a bad day, a stressful day, a messy day, a day when your motivation disappears. That difference, knowing versus understanding, is the reason you can have a lot of knowledge and still fail. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you a simple framework, 3 switches you can flip, to move from knowledge that sits in your head to understanding that actually changes your life. And I'm also going to give you an emergency plan for those moments when life is chaotic, when you don't have time, when you're tired, when everything feels heavy, so you still make progress without relying on motivation. Now, quick test. Don't overthink it. Name one thing you know you should do that you still haven't done. Maybe it's sleeping earlier. Maybe it's saving money. Maybe it's learning a skill. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's having an honest conversation. Just name one. Hold that in your mind, because we're going to use it as a real example later. One more thing. This video is educational. It's not medical advice, and it's not a diagnosis. If you're dealing with severe or long-lasting fatigue, anxiety, or health issues, it's smart to talk to a professional. But for many people, the problem we're discussing today is not a mystery condition. It's a mindset trap, and it can change faster than you think. So let's go deeper. In the next part, I'm going to show you why your brain loves the words, I know, and why that sentence can quietly ruin your progress for years. Let's talk about why your brain loves the phrase, I know. Because on the surface, it sounds like a good thing. It sounds confident. It sounds intelligent. It sounds like progress. But psychologically, I know often means something else. It means, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Because the moment you truly face what you know, you're forced to face what you're not doing. And that creates a painful gap. Knowledge is clean. Knowledge is safe. Knowledge feels like control. Action is messy. Action comes with embarrassment, failure, effort, time, confusion, slow results. And the worst part, action forces you to meet reality. So here is the first core idea that most people miss. Knowing is not the same thing as understanding. Knowing is when you can explain something. Understanding is when your behavior changes because of it. And the easiest way to see the difference is this. If you can only apply it on a good day, when you feel motivated and inspired, you don't truly understand it yet. Understanding shows up on a bad Tuesday. When you slept late, when your boss annoyed you, when your kid is crying, when your phone is buzzing, when your emotions are heavy. That's where understanding lives. Now, why do smart people fall into this trap more than others? Because smart people can use knowledge as a defense. They can explain their situation so well that they feel like they're moving, even when they're not. They can say, I know what the problem is. I know the psychology, I know the strategy, I know the science, and the brain counts that as progress. This is what I call false progress. It's the feeling of improvement without the evidence of improvement. And it happens everywhere. People watch 10 videos about saving money, but they never track spending for 1 week. People read books about fitness, but they never walk for 20 minutes consistently. People learn communication skills, but in the real conversation they still freeze or get defensive. People take courses on productivity, but their day is still chaotic. Because the brain is addicted to the easy part, collecting. Collecting knowledge is fast. It gives you dopamine. It makes you feel like, I'm working on myself. But action is slow. Action is boring. Action exposes your weaknesses. And that's why people chase the new answer. They think, maybe the advice I heard is too basic. I need a more advanced technique. But here's the truth. Most of the time, the advice is not too basic. Your execution is too heavy. You don't need new knowledge. You need a smaller step. And that leads us to the most dangerous sentence in self-improvement. I already know that. Because when you say that, you close the door. You stop being a student. You stop being curious. You stop being willing to look at yourself honestly. And you stay the same. Now I want to give you a quick example that most people understand immediately. Imagine someone wants to learn how to swim. They watch videos. They understand buoyancy. They learn the theory. They can explain how to float. They can even describe the correct arm movement. But if you take them to a pool and ask them to swim across, they panic. They know, but they don't understand. Because understanding comes from experience, from contact, from repetition, from mistakes. And here is the key line. Understanding is built when you live the thing, not when you only study the thing. That doesn't mean knowledge is useless. Knowledge is important. It's the beginning. But knowledge is only the map. You still have to walk. Now, at this point, most people ask the same question. Okay, so how do I actually move from knowing to understanding? That's exactly what the next part is. In part 3, I'm going to give you switch number 1, the one shift that turns any advice into a real action you can do tonight in under 60 seconds. And if you do it right, you'll stop feeling like you're collecting tips and start collecting proof, all right? Here's switch number 1, and it's going to feel almost too simple. But simple is exactly what you need, because your problem is not that you don't know what to do. Your problem is that the step you imagine is too big. So switch number 1 is this. Shrink the advice until it becomes a 30-60 second action. Not a plan, not a starting next week, not a motivational speech. A physical action you can do tonight, even on a bad day. Because the moment you do a real action, something powerful happens. You stop debating, and you start building evidence. Now let's go back to the example I used earlier. Someone says, you should exercise. Most people hear that and picture a full workout. Gym membership, an hour, sweating, shower, changing clothes, time, pain. And the brain quietly says, not today. So instead of exercise, you shrink it. Your first step is not exercise. Your first step is 60 seconds of movement. That could be 10 slow squats next to your bed, 30 seconds of jumping jacks. A 1-minute walk around your living room, stretching your back for 60 seconds. 1 set of push-ups against the wall. That's it. Because your goal in the beginning is not to become fit. Your goal is to become the type of person who keeps a promise to themselves. Now, a lot of people will hear this and immediately say, "Yeah, I know, start small." And that is exactly why we're doing this switch. Because the difference is not knowing start small. The difference is actually doing the small step. Tonight, not later. And here's the reason this works. When the step is tiny, your brain can't argue. It's too small to fear, too small to resist. And once you begin, momentum does what motivation couldn't. Now let's take another example. You know you should read more. But reading more feels like 30 pages, a full chapter, a whole book. So you shrink it. Your action is read 1 page. Or even simpler, open the book, read 1 paragraph. The point is not the amount. The point is the identity. Now one more example, because this one hits a lot of people. You know you should meditate. You know it would help your anxiety or stress. But meditation feels like sitting still for 20 minutes, fighting your thoughts. So you shrink it. Your action is 3 slow breaths. Inhale, slow. Exhale, slow. Repeat 3 times. And you count that as success. Now you might be thinking, that's too small. That doesn't change anything. And you're right. In one day, it won't change your life. But it changes something more important. It changes your relationship with yourself. Because most people fail, not because they're incapable, but because they keep setting promises their nervous system can't keep. They set a goal that requires a perfect day. And when the day isn't perfect, they break the promise. And after enough broken promises, your brain stops trusting you. So this is the first healing step. Make a promise so small you can keep it. Now, here's your 30-second exercise. Do it right now as you listen. Take the one thing you named in part 1, the thing you know you should do. Now write 1 sentence. After I will tourist for 60 seconds. Examples. After I brush my teeth, I will stretch for 60 seconds. After I close my laptop, I will walk for 60 seconds. After I make coffee, I will read 1 paragraph. After I put my phone down, I will take 3 slow breaths. That's your switch. Now here's the micro payoff. If you do that 1 small action for 7 days, you will start to feel a new kind of confidence. Not emotional confidence, evidence-based confidence, because confidence doesn't come from thinking. Confidence comes from proof. Now, switch number 1 alone is powerful, but most people still quit after a week or 2. Why? Because they don't see results fast enough. They feel like nothing is changing. And that's where switch number 2 comes in. In part 4, I'm going to show you how to build a proof loop that keeps you going even when results are invisible. And I'll add switch number 3, the environment trick that most people don't quit because the method is wrong. They quit because they don't see results fast enough. And when you don't see results, your brain creates a story. This isn't working. I'm not the kind of person who can stay consistent. I always start and stop. Maybe I need a better strategy. That story is the reason people with a lot of knowledge still stay stuck. So switch number 2 is designed to solve one specific problem. How do you keep going when progress is invisible? Here it is. Switch number 2. Stop chasing feelings. Start tracking proof. Because if you rely on feelings, motivation, excitement, inspiration, you're building your progress on weather. Some days the weather is sunny, some days it's cloudy, but if you track proof, you build progress on evidence. And evidence is stable. Let me show you what I mean with a simple example. Imagine you want to save money. You can watch videos about budgeting. You can learn about compound interest. You can understand the math. But until you track your spending, even for 1 week, nothing changes, because the tracking is the proof. So for your habit, whatever you chose, you need one tiny way to track it. Not a complicated journal, not a fancy system, just a checkbox. Here's the rule. Create a 7-day tracker, 7 boxes. Every day you do your 60-second action from switch number 1, you check 1 box. That's it. And your only goal is this. Don't break the chain twice. Meaning, you can miss a day. You're human. But you don't miss 2 days in a row. This one rule keeps you from the most dangerous point in habit building. The moment you lose momentum, and your brain says, "We're done." Now, why is this so powerful? Because checking a box turns effort into identity. After a few days, your brain starts to register. I'm the type of person who shows up. And that identity is stronger than motivation. Now here's your 30-second exercise for switch number 2. Open your Notes app right now. Type 7-day proof, draw 7 squares. That's all. Now we add switch number 3, because even with tracking, some days you'll still feel resistance. And the biggest mistake people make is they think resistance means they are weak. No, resistance is often just bad design. So switch number 3 is this. Change your environment so the right action becomes the easy action. Most people try to fight their life with willpower. But willpower is expensive. It runs out. Environment is cheaper. It runs automatically. Let me make it practical. If you want to read more, don't rely on, "I'll feel like reading." Instead, put the book on your pillow in the morning. So at night, reading is the default. If you want to stop scrolling at night, put your charger across the room so your phone is not glued to your hand. If you want to work out, put your shoes next to the door so the first step is already done. If you want to drink more water, fill a bottle and place it where you sit so the cue is visible. This is what I mean by friction. Add friction to bad habits. Remove friction from good habits. Now your 30-second exercise for switch number 3. Pick one environment move you can do tonight in under a minute. 1. Move the phone charger. Put the shoes by the door. Place the book on the pillow. Lay out the water bottle. Set a timer for a 60-second action. That's it. Now let me give you a mini story to lock this in. There's a type of person who often impresses everyone in conversation. They're smart, they're articulate, they know a lot. But behind the scenes, they don't keep promises to themselves. And because they don't keep promises, they start to feel secretly ashamed. So they compensate by learning more, explaining more, talking more. And the outside world thinks they're doing great, but inside they feel stuck. If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You need to become a person who can keep one small promise consistently. That's what changes everything. Now, there's one final problem we have to solve. What about chaotic days? What about nights when you're exhausted, when you're busy, when everything collapses? That's where the emergency plan comes in. In part 5, I'll give you a simple rule for those days, so you don't lose your chain. And I'll give you the 7-day checklist that turns these 3 switches into a real system. Now let's talk about the real world, because the reason people fail is not the normal days. They can do the habit on a normal day. People fail on chaotic days. The day you overslept. The day your schedule exploded. The day you were emotionally drained. The day you had no patience left. That's when your brain says, "Not today, we'll start again tomorrow." And tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. So here is the emergency plan. The rule that protects your progress when life is messy. On bad days, you don't aim for growth. You aim for continuity. Continuity is the real secret. Because if you keep the chain alive, you keep your identity alive. So on chaotic days, you use what I call the minimum viable version. It's the smallest version of the habit that still counts as showing up. Not the perfect version, not the full version. The version that protects the chain. Here are examples. If your habit is exercise, the minimum viable version is 1 minute of movement. Walk to the kitchen and back, stretch your legs, 10 squats, anything. If your habit is reading, it's 1 paragraph. If your habit is meditation, it's 3 slow breaths. If your habit is saving money, it's opening your bank app and checking 1 number. Awareness is the minimum. If your habit is learning a skill, it's 1 minute of practice. 1 phrase, 1 drill, 1 repetition. Now some people will say, "That's too small, it doesn't matter." But here's the truth. Small things don't change your life in 1 day. Small things change your life by changing who you believe you are. And the person you believe you are determines what you do. Automatically. So let's summarize the entire video in 3 simple switches. Switch number 1, shrink the advice into a 60-second action. Switch number 2, track proof with a 7-day checkbox system. Don't break the chain twice. Switch number 3, control friction. Make good habits easier, bad habits harder. If you do these 3 switches for just 7 days, you won't magically become a different person. But you will become something more important. You will become someone who trusts themselves again. And when you trust yourself, your knowledge finally has a place to land. Now here's your 7-day checklist. You can screenshot this. For the next 7 days, every day, do one 60-second action. Every day, check one box. Every day, make one tiny friction move that helps tomorrow. And if you miss a day, don't panic. Just remember the rule: don't miss 2 days in a row. Now, one more responsible note. This is general education, not medical advice. If you're dealing with severe fatigue, depression, anxiety, or anything that feels heavy and persistent, please talk to a qualified professional. There's strength in getting support. But for a lot of people, what we covered today is the missing piece. They kept collecting knowledge without building proof. So here's my question for you. What's your 60-second action? Comment it below, just one sentence. After I hightours, I will art for 60 seconds. And if you want more videos like this, calm, practical frameworks you can apply immediately, subscribe. We'll keep building these small switches that make life feel lighter, clearer, and more in your control. See you in the next one.